arrived at your destination.
This store is lit, and that's the acronym LIT. They don't call it that, I'm calling it that because this store, please watch the first part one. If you haven't, I'm gonna probably be reiterating some things, but I'm gonna do, this is part two. I had so much footage, I couldn't get it all in. It was just countless and countless, vast amounts of just nooks and crannies throughout this entire store. I'll try to point out and do my best to go through some of everything that's in here. This is kind of the first part of the store towards your right, and these are the premium type of comic books that they have. Vintage, like this stuff is like on the, it's not the top shelf, but it's close to it. This is like the second tier of comic books they have. Look at this, is a First Craven. If you know anything about books, that's a First Craven book at a 6.0, and it's going for about, I think, $250. It's a litany of everything. So let's pan around and just, from time to time I will pan around just to try to give you an idea of, again, how enormous this shop is. Some die-cast cars, General Lees, in multiples of everything. So much that I couldn't really get it all in. Things I haven't seen before. Bionic Woman sports car, never even knew that existed. A little before my time, but still. Yoda, and they do specialize, as I mentioned before, in a lot of Star Wars memorabilia. But what's so amazing about this store is that just the amount that they have, because there is what they have is multiples. Look at, these are vintage and from Kenner. So these are the first, like, and that's Empire Strikes Back, but they have both different types of ranges of Star Wars. That's a Death Star space station, so that's from like the late 70s in its original box. And they, a lot of times they don't just have one, they have multiples of these things. So you'll see that coming up too. Hang around for the later part of the video because you'll see what I purchased from the store, which I didn't really intend to buy anything. Hoth Iron Cannon set. Again, Kenner was the premier manufacturer for these toys when they first came out, from what I've learned. And endless Star Wars of first generation, from the very beginning all the way up to the most current manufacturers that you may see here, with droids and a litany of everything else. Variations of dioramas. There's Witcher, every and anything you can think of. They have the Power Rangers sets and figurines. There is some Jurassic Park that you'll see. Whatever you can think of, they have it. Darth Vader there, and behind that, this is coming out as a tier of the top tier of what they have. These are like some of the, if you know anything about comics, like even these lower grades are high grades, because these are the earlier bronze, silver, and gold age comic books. I know I'm kind of out of order with that, but that's like a first Daredevil, another Millennial Falcon, and they have several of these things here, and I think those priced at like $500 or whatever in its original box. The boxes may be a little, weathered over time, but overall they're very good condition when you consider what and how you can still get a premium vintage piece like that. A lot of them just don't exist, so the rarity of these items are very impressive. A litany of, here's some WWE type of memorabilia. I know I said it in the first one. Here's Ahsoka. I was kind of considering getting that because I'm a big Rosario Dawson fan. And video game type of video game genre of characters like Dragon Ball Z, that's Mortal Kombat. They do have that. Not my genre, but all that's there. And it may look like I'm focusing on a lot of the Star Wars type of memorabilia, but I'm not. It's just an overwhelming amount that they have. There's Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet there, and there's tons of that there. X-Men, the Women of X-Men, didn't even know that existed. Somewhat of like a diorama. The Incredible Hulk Superman diorama, that's from the Direct Toys, and that's from the Fire Department NY. Spawn, I mean, some of any and everything imaginable from a toy manufacturer that you could think of. As we go around to, this is kind of the right side of the store, and you will see it, mass figurines, and again, so many of these items that I never even knew existed. I'm a big Witchblade fan. Heroes, that was from the TV show that was quite popular back in the early 2000s. Spawn, again, as I mentioned before. There's Edge and Paul Orndorff. Some of these other figurines from the wrestling era. John Cena, Montez Ford, The Misfits, Creepshow. They do have some horror memorabilia. The Beast. And I will pull out some things here and there that you'll see throughout the video. Batman Beyond, the Riddler, from various manufacturers and whatnot. Get Smart, that used to rerun when I was a kid. Who would have thought I never even knew they had anything like that from a toy perspective. That was a shocker to me. This is like a vintage, one of the first Flash, but I was showing this because this is another variation or a toy manufacturer. I'm not sure who manufactures it, but you can see how different that is from some of the other current manufacturers that make some of the superheroes. I actually have these toy lines of small toys I have. This is Maximum Carnage. I started to buy this, but the box was damaged too much to a point where I didn't get it. But that whole line, I was even surprised to see that they had those there. She-Hulk, and the list goes on and on, of course. So if you hang around to the end of the video, you'll see, like I mentioned before, what I purchased, which were some comic books that they had in a $60 bin. I'm panning around again just to give you an idea of the enormous amount of inventory that this particular place has. This Dr. Doom is very popular right now, so I was considering getting that, but I did not. This is a Spider-Man Mary Jane from that toy manufacturer of some of these items I had, but I never knew they had that. Batman Kyle, and they had some few other large or half-style statuettes that were around the store. Just showing those. This is the premium shelf that I'm getting over to, and at the top you can see a beautiful Transformer statue, one of the Stormtrooper helmets, and they've had a vintage Godzilla there. Those were going for $500 or so. Transformers, Prime, Starscream, you name it. That Boba Fett helmet I think was going for about $550. But this cabinet here is, because from what I understand, those who know Star Wars, it has a huge following, like a religion. But these are the top tier figurines that they had in that casing there of all the vintage pieces. Rebel, Transport, Harley Quinn, and then you have some Masters of the Universe. How can you not have He-Man? But that is there as well. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and we will get into this latter part. Thank you. I've seen these go online in the 9.8 for like $300. So I paid $60 for this, and it's a 9.0. I think I made out good with this one here. 7.0 CGC, but DC Comics, which is something I really don't buy. I don't know why, but I'm just so much of a Marvel person. That's just how I grew up. And this is the first appearance of King Shark. I'm not a Superboy fan. I don't really care for that at all. But King Shark I do appreciate, and that's why I had to get that one. This one has the appearance of Tarantula. Not a bad price that I've seen these go for, I don't know, $100 or more in a higher grade, of course. But Spider-Man fan I am. So I had to buy that one. The last but not least, I had to have this one because I actually considered getting this online, which is, I'm a huge Archangels fan, and this is the first appearance of Archangel, and it's an 8.5. So for $60, I feel like I robbed the bank with this particular slab. And I was just gonna buy this just as a raw copy. There he is in his original form before he came Archangel, but man, what a deal. So that's it. Just want to give a quick video. This is what I purchased from that store. These 4 books cost me about $250 altogether. I had no intention of spending nowhere close to that. I thought if anything I would spend $100, but it was well worth it because getting that book alone and this book alone, to me, with these additional books at the price of $60 that are slabbed, you can't beat that, man. So I had to go the extra mile to get these, and enjoy the video on the full tour of the store.